Hola guapas, and welcome to episode 6 of the Hola Guapa podcast. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm your host, Nisha Batesh. I'm also the founder and creative at Hola Guapa, a digital community of almost 10,000 artists and creatives from all over the world. A blog, a website, an online shop, and most recently, this podcast. On this podcast, we highlight creative conversations by sharing the real stories, tips, and tricks the artists in this community have found on their journeys to success. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce you to our next guest, Alice Mulder. She is an illustrator and graphic designer who could teach us all a thing or two about turning our passions into paychecks. One of the things I loved most about my conversation with Alice is discovering her strength in thinking realistically and logically about her career while staying wildly creative in her approach. I mean, this girl knows a thing or two about producing multiple revenue streams. Trust me, even her side hustles have side hustles. Beating to her own drum, she has foregone the typical route of working for a larger agency and found a way to balance her love of illustration and graphic design to create her own business as a freelance artist, sharing all the highs and lows that freedom entails. If you're feeling stuck in your creative journey or lonely, as many of us do, or even just feeling doubtful about how you're going to make cash pursuing the mediums and processes you love, this is the episode for you. Who knows, after listening, you may even be inspired to start your very own local draw club. So trust me, you're going to want to dive into this episode with a pen and paper to take notes as she drops major nuggets of artist-focused career advice and more. So with that, help me welcome Alice to the show.
Hi, my name is Alice. It's written as Alice, but my parents thought it was funny to give it a French pronunciation. So I'm Alice. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer from the Netherlands, and I'm self-employed now for 4 years, and I've been doing a lot of different stuff as a designer, but I'm developing more into illustration for a few years now. I make resale prints, I make booklets, I make pins, and I recently started also in t-shirt designs for a bit. So I've been exploring a lot of different mediums for my illustrations, and main topic in my work is dream places all over the world, which I make up for my fantasy, but also for places I've been in the USA or Canada, which I find really inspiring to be there as a European person with no mountains at all in my own country. So every mountain higher than 500 meters is like amazing. So yeah, that's what I do and who I am.
Amazing. I definitely want to get more sort of into like your career path and all the different things that you've done with your illustration and what inspires you. But first, I kind of want to take it back to the beginning and figure out sort of, do you remember the moment that you decided that you were going to be a creator or an artist? Was there a moment in time that you can remember, or was it more of a process and a journey?
For me, it's a weird story to look back at one certain moment, because when I was in high school, when I was 17, I had to decide what I wanted to study, and then I was like, oh, let's go to art school. But I didn't really know why, and I haven't really known that for a long time, I guess. But now looking back and looking through all of my parents' old stuff, they're cleaning their house now with COVID. I found out I have been making magazines and little booklets and stories on my typewriter ever since I was like 6. So I think making magazines has been there all the time, but I never really saw that in myself. And my father has a kind of graphic designer job when I was young, so that's probably my inspiration, but I haven't known that for all those years. But looking back, yeah, it has always been there.
And so what did you go to school to study specifically? Did you always know that it was going to be illustration and graphic design?
I started in a kind of preparatory year, that's how I call it. Like, you go to art academy not to study like photography or graphic design or fashion, but you kind of have a year to dive into all those fields and decide for yourself which one suits you best. And I immediately knew that graphic design was going to be my thing, because I was not really into fine arts because it's too free, and I love to have boundaries of what I have to do with which materials or which context or texts or image. So after that starting year, I got into graphic design, and that was where I wanted to be. And I even did an exchange to another art school in Belgium to dive into illustration, because my art school in the Netherlands didn't offer illustration for me, or like in school. So that's how I found out that my passion or my specialization is illustration, but I can't do that without having this graphic design background. So I do it together now. Graphic design being more a thing I do for clients, and illustration more my autonomous personal field. And I think the balance is perfect, and that I have to be aware of that balance all the time. But yeah, this works.
That's something that I'm actually like super inspired by you, because I feel like you found a way to, I mean, you use the word balance, and I feel like it's so perfect because you found a way to balance illustration and graphic design in a way that, you know, your drawings still feel so whimsical. But yet you're able to actually turn them into a product, or sell them to a client. Or I know that you have different little like businesses and clubs that you run that I want to talk to you about too. And you found a way to keep evolving both things and keep the balance and keep blending them.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's kind of, it has been hard to find this balance and to decide, okay, I'm going for illustration and I'm not going for this full-time graphic designer job, which a lot of my friends did, and I admire them for their choice and to have this like monthly income and like a stable life. And I'm totally not having that life. But every time I sell a print, or I speak to someone on a market where I sell my stuff, or I get people, I see people at an exhibition I have, then I know I have made the right choice. And their reactions confirm that making these illustrations for myself and working as an autonomous independent illustrator is the thing I need to do. And let's buy that house like maybe in 10 years, but for now I'm doing what I want to do.
Absolutely. I think, do you feel like, you know, the illustration side of you is more sort of like your creative side where you get to like fully express your vision. And then the graphic design side is more maybe like business oriented, where you get to actually turn that into a product, or you get to, you know, sort of bring on more of like a business aspect to your work?
That's true. A lot of my graphic design jobs are really simple, or make a banner in their house style they already have, or change a thing or move a thing or make a not the most creative things, but I really like that, because then I just get to work hard and make them happy. And that also makes me happy, because I need to have this feeling of being needed or important. And by making illustrations as an independent maker, you have to get that inner energy out of yourself, and no one's going to tell you like, oh, you have to make another illustration and then I'm going to pay you this. Or working for clients in the graphic design business makes me feel confident about myself, and with that confidence I can make work for myself and like spread that all over the world and make myself happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think having the two is actually like sort of it's a good takeaway, because you're able to you know, you're able to use the graphic design side to bring in money, bring in income, learn how to negotiate, learn how to talk to clients, learn how to work on bigger projects. You're able to keep evolving that side of like the business mind of you, with the illustration side, you're able to really stay true to yourself as an artist and your vision and what you like to draw and
Right.
doodle and feel more free. So I feel like it's such a cool balance, and it's a really good takeaway for anybody, you know, who's feeling stuck with one medium, or you know, with illustration, maybe you can doodle and draw all day, but if you're not able to turn it into a print, or you don't know how to work any graphic design programs, or you don't know how to turn it into a t-shirt like you've done, you know, maybe it's harder to make an income,
Right. Yeah.
by sticking to one medium.
Yeah. And the best thing is when I get assignments where I can combine those two and like offer an extra thing by saying, hey, I can do hand lettering, or I can make an illustration of your product and put it on the whatever it's going to be. So I hope in the future to even blend those two worlds more together, because that's who I am and how I am. And yeah, what you say, like having this graphic design background really helps, but then become an illustrator, because everyone has their way, and my way is maybe also kind of weird because I didn't study illustration like as a full-time study, but you will find your way, and I think I've managed to do so.
Yeah, I want to get into it, and I want to talk about some of the really interesting things that I think you're doing. Not only do you have like your own Instagram art account and your Etsy shop and your website, but you have branched out to create Draw Club Den Haag. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Den Haag is like yeah, The Hague is my hometown, and yeah, that's part of the name. Draw Club Den Haag. Yeah.
Talk to us about this club and why you decided to create it.
Yeah, this club is a really fun thing I've been doing now for over 2.5 years, together with a friend called Lotte. And Lotte and I were both at Art Academy together, but we didn't really know each other. But I got to know another draw club in another city in the Netherlands, and then I was like, that's a fun thing to do. It's because let me explain. The thing we do is draw club is an event we host every week, and we just invite people to come and draw, and those people are amateurs or professionals or students or expats or whatever. Everyone who has Facebook or Instagram and follows us can join, and we don't have any assignment or nothing at all. Everyone can just bring their stuff or their iPads or sketchbooks and just draw for fun, because we noticed we're both designers, illustrators, and we noticed that we don't really draw for fun anymore at home. Like when this creative thing becomes your job, and then you kind of run out of inspiration or like energy to do it for fun at home. So we decided to host this event every week. It's at a cafe in The Hague, so people can just sit at a table and order drinks and beers if they want to, and we chat. And it's really fun because we've been doing this for over 2.5 years now, and we have some regulars, so people who come a lot or like every week for a while, and they become friends, and it's a completely mixed group. And I've never beforehand, I never thought it was going to be this way, but it's so much fun, and you learn so much also by seeing other people draw. And yeah, people can ask questions, and like, yeah, you meet a lot of new people by doing the thing you love most. So that's great.
I absolutely love this idea, and I think it's something that anybody who's listening can start in their areas. I mean, obviously after COVID's over, but it's such a fun concept because it feels so free. It's just like, hey, we're coming here, we're all going to draw. And what you said is so true, that like as a creative, when you start turning it into a career, you can often lose maybe some of the inspiration or the motivation behind why you started or what got you excited to draw or create in the first place. And so just having that space once a week, once a month, whatever it is, to just come and have a beer and take out your paper and your pen or whatever your medium is, and just share your work and talk about it, or don't. I mean, it's such a cool way to build community.
Yeah. And you see people really opening up and learn new techniques, or like see what other people make. And for me as well, when I look back, my work really changed, and I really made so much more than I would have made when I would just sit at home or watch Netflix at the same time. So I think I didn't really thought about it beforehand, but it's really inspiring for me. But I feel like we inspire a lot of people too, and that's a big surprise because I never thought about it that way.
How many people do you typically have come?
I think in between 6 and 10, and it depends on the weather, of course. We do it normally on Mondays because then most people don't have any other clubs to go to or like meetings or whatever, and the cafe is less busy. So they like to have us, and it depends. Mostly around 6 and 8.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of is when I was a teenager, I used to work at a cafe as a barista, and there was this group of women who would come in every week to do a knitting club, and they would get pastries and
Right.
coffee and sit around, and it's like so old school, but it's such a cool idea.
And it's so cute, and you get to make stuff, and you chat along the way, and you learn so much. It's been really fun, and I never thought that I would even go every week for like more than 1 year, and now it's 2.5 years and we're still here and doing it again. Like we started off after COVID again a bit, because here things are starting up a bit again, so we have drawn in a park as well, so we can have this distance still and be safe. And really people are really happy to be outside again and draw, and also see us again, because we host this every week and we're like the main the main faces of this club, so everyone's checking in on us as well, like, hey, are you doing, and do you have jobs, and what are you making?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're like building a little a network. You know, it seems unstructured, but you're still creating these connections. And I think that when you're creating this community and you're not asking anything of anybody other than to just come together to create art, I think really magical things can start to happen.
Yeah, it's great.
And when you're creating sort of often on your own, like you said, like maybe just indoors watching Netflix or whatever it might be, you often feel really lonely. So having a place to come together with a group of people to maybe even share an idea or just to create next to somebody, I think is really powerful.
Yeah, you see all these techniques, and some of them, so the people bring an iPad and draw with Procreate, and I don't have an iPad with that technique, but I'm thinking about buying one because I've seen what they can do with it, and I'm like, wow, that's so much quicker and more neat than I can ever draw by hand. So let's give that a try. So you can really also help each other with tips and tricks, and have fun in drawing again.
And then the other thing that I really wanted to ask you about was the Studio Neto. Am I pronouncing that one right?
Yes.
Tell us about Studio Neto.
Yeah, Studio Neto is another project I have with another art school friend. You meet a lot of great people there, obviously. It's we've been working together for 3 years now, I guess. And it started by an assignment, me and my friend Cecile, who I'm working with. We started with an assignment we got by the Art Academy. Again, this Art Academy really provides work. And they got a question from someone from a big organization, like, hey, we need some creative people to draw or do something creative at our conference on fraud in mental health, something like that. Something really outside my usual world. And we thought, well, okay, let's do something creative then. And we decided to listen to the presentations, listen to the talks, and just draw and react to everything we hear. So we've been live recording, or like graphic recording, or making visual notes, like all these things. Is what we do. So we've been after that first assignment, we thought, okay, this is a nice thing to do, and those people really liked it, and we kind of are good in this already. to react on these topics. So let's start a business together and do this for money more often. So that's what we did. And yeah, we've been working now for a few years, have had some great clients and draw stuff like financial systems in Africa and like educational organizations and consultancy, some more finance. So we learn a lot from it because these are like fields we never got involved in otherwise. And yeah, those people really like it because we have a completely different view on their day-to-day jobs, and we use metaphors or like little jokes, and yeah, you make people laugh about their work again, and they've been sometimes doing that for years or like decades. So they're like, whoa, I never thought about it that way, and this is great, and you just come here and make this, it's amazing. And you're so, yeah, they you really show them another way of seeing their work again. So it's been really fun, and it's next to doing graphic design or like my own illustration work, it's really fun to have this, yeah, like I think it's a bit in between graphic design and illustration, but it's a really fun way to also make illustration work for big companies.
So I want to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. So basically a company who has nothing to do with anything creative. So let's say, like you were talking about, like it could be like a systems company in Africa, like something totally, outside of the creative industry, will
Right.
hire you to come. Will it be like to a presentation?
Yeah, like we've been to presentations or brainstorm sessions or like big conferences, who also like bring together all these international workers from the company together in like the Netherlands or somewhere else. So yeah,
And then you
it's
and your
really
co-founder,
business.
will then illustrate what they're talking about as they're talking about it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
and
do you
then
present them with like the illustration afterwards, or are you turning that into a product, or how is that working? Like, what's the process like?
yeah, during the conference or like presentation, we're sitting in the back of the room with our laptops and our drawing tablets, which maybe is going to be an iPad soon for me. And we just respond to what they say, and we make notes and we sketch, but we also finish drawings quite quick because you have to work really quick for this because people talk quick, and those presentations are like 30 minutes or maybe 45. And after that, we combine our drawings. That's the nice thing of working with another illustrator next to you. You combine your illustrations, and then you have the most quantity, but also the best quality drawings. So we combine it and we wrap it up. And those organizations sometimes show it in their lunch break or like at the end of the day as a recap to talk through the whole day and like, oh, we've talked about this and talked about that. And those presenters of those big conferences then have some image to tell their story or like guide the people through the day again. So, and we send it afterwards. We send it to the organization as well, so they can send it to the attendees, and they have a nice, thank you gift, you can say.
It's a really cool idea. I mean, the reason why I'm asking you to explain it in such detail is because I think it's such an interesting way to create another revenue source for yourself as a creative or as an illustrator. Like, I think that anybody who's listening who might be thinking, how can they pivot? Or if there's, less work coming in right now, or, what can they do with their illustrations to gain more revenue? I think that this is a really good way, reaching out to organizations and sort of illustrating their meetings. I mean, I've never even heard of something like this, but I feel like
Right.
it's such a good way, I think, to and even practice illustrating. Like you say, sometimes you can run out of motivation, or sometimes maybe drawing plants or animals, or I don't know, like the average things might just get boring. And I think this is sort of illustration with a function, and the way that they appreciate and are probably so like awestruck by what you did is really, really cool.
Yeah, they were like, oh my god, you're so talented. And I'm like, whoa, but you're having a cure for cancer. So who's
Yeah.
impressive now? But
Yeah.
that's so funny to step out of your own bubble and then see what other people do, but also look at what you're doing, and then notice like, wow, what I do is special, and not everyone can do this. And yeah, you have to have, of course, a quick hand and a quick way of turning these abstract words or themes sometimes into an illustration, which is fun and recognizable. So yeah, we really also grew into that, of course. But to respond to what you said earlier, I really believe in having these different revenue streams. And with Studio Neto, we don't have these kind of assignments like every week. So sometimes it's once a month or maybe once every 2 or 3 months. But they are, because those companies have big budgets, those assignments are the ones who like, well, pay your rent for a few months, or like make you feel comfortable again, and then give you some space again to work on prints which you sell in markets where you maybe don't sell that much but don't have to worry about it, and you can really go for what you want to do and have this balance again. That's maybe the main theme. The balance has to be there to be happy with what you do.
Absolutely. What do you think it is about you that has you branching out and taking, what you're so passionate about and finding different ways to turn it into a paycheck? I mean, often I talk to creatives who are super focused on one thing, whether it be painting or jewelry making or, whatever it may be. But I think that the theme with you, like you said, is really balancing multiple mediums, multiple revenue sources. What do you think it is about you that sort of set you on this path?
I think maybe because I dove into illustration quite late in my studies, I've never really seen myself as, oh, I'm an illustrator and that's what I do. But I'm also not 100% diehard graphic designer, typographer, like, ooh, everything has to be perfect and all those things. So I've already been doing different things from ever since I was 20 or something. So yeah, and I like to have some balance, but also have control and like feel safe in my working life to make money. And that's how then you have to really have different revenue streams to feel okay and feel confident, and not like I could have applied for a job, but that's my last resort, I think, to
Yeah,
go for a job.
I heard you mention this earlier and I want to talk to you a little bit more about it. Why? I honestly did the same thing. I think when, people were graduating around me, they were applying for, to work for big design houses, and I didn't do that. So, I'm curious what in you made you say no to that. And even now you're still saying that it would be your last resort.
Yeah, that's maybe I have um, a wrong image in my head of what it is to work in a full-time job. But I've had internships or I've worked at companies as a freelancer sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I like to work with people, and I really miss having a team now to work with. But I don't like to be somewhere from 9 to 5 and then go home and then have made stuff for other people or like big companies, and not 100% be able to have your own creativity in it and your own, to inspire yourself with that work. And I'm still young. I don't have a mortgage or a kid or a car even, so I'm totally free to do whatever I want and to decide to travel or do an artist in residency when I want to, and just go away for a month or something without having a boss to control me or like say, oh, you only have 20 days free a year. And I'm like, what's this? I'm not going to be stuck in this. I don't want to be stuck in this now, but I can always go for it, of course. But I don't know, the freedom and the possibility to develop myself to the fullest, and then maybe go for a job in the end, then at least I've tried, and at least I've put everything in it, and I won't disappoint myself if I don't try.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a good takeaway for anybody, maybe looking to graduate soon, or even somebody who just like is sort of at maybe a crossroads with this whole COVID thing. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they're thinking that their current career isn't for them anymore. I know that
Right.
there's like a lot of that conversation right now. And I think it's cool to lead by example in the way that you are, where, this is a period of time, just like maybe if you were laid off or if you were furloughed, it's a period of time where you can really dive into a different route, and you can try something new and try something different and just see if it works, because you
Right.
really won't know until you try.
Exactly, and that's a big thing to keep in mind. And after graduating, I've always had this motto in my mind, like this sentence, like nobody's gonna do it for you. And that really motivated me in the beginning after graduating, like, okay, I want this and this and this, I have to do it, and I'm gonna react, and I'm gonna send people emails, and I'm gonna make that book again, and I'm gonna make blah 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 blah, and not be um um I can't find a word. I don't have to rely on a job immediately. And
Yeah.
luckily, I had a low rent, and I lived together with my boyfriend already, so I had low rent, and I don't know, I don't really need that much, I found out. And when you don't really have much, like a mortgage or a car or a kid,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't really need much, and you can do what you want. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm a bit tired, so I'm a bit my words are coming out like blah. Sorry.
No worries. When you did the interview for Ola Guapa, in the written feature must have been like a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. I asked you what your secret sauce to success was. Do you remember what you said?
Oh, that's a good one. It's it's
I'm
yeah, it's
curious.
been
I'm
a year.
curious to know if it's changed. You said it might sound like a cliche, but I think working hard and staying true to doing what you love is the main thing. It's easy to fall for hypes, trends, and score success easily, but the ones working on their own development and concepts are the ones who will outlive the hype.
Yeah, yeah. I still feel that way. Yeah, it's a thing. I've like now I'm sitting here. I'm talking to you, and it looks like I know what I'm doing, but I've been looking for answers for years to know what I want to do, how I do it, how to be successful. What is success? Is that only measurable in money, or like is it something else? So, and then you also really look at other people, like, oh, they are so successful. Oh, wow, they post so much on Instagram, or oh, they have this and this. And it's easy to fall for that and like be really to feel down about that, and like, oh no, and I can't do that, and they're so good, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And you have to reassure yourself, like, okay, what I'm doing is what I need to be doing. And if people wanted to have another person making, I don't know, drawings of, let's say, cats or like palm trees, there are plenty of people drawing that, but what's that the thing that makes you unique? And you don't really know that. It takes some time and some years of practice to really find out what that thing is for you. And I think now I've graduated 4 years ago. Since I'm moving my studios, I've been really looking at my old works, and I like a lot of it, but I also see so much doubt and so much. I was just looking, and I'm still looking, but I've seen a change in myself, like to be more confident in what I make, and that what I make maybe now, to me, it feels like it doesn't have a response, or like not a lot of people maybe know me or know my work, but or I change my work into something that's trendy and like it's going to be picked up, or I keep make what I'm making, till the point comes that people find me and like, wow, she's really authentic, or she makes really original work and I really like it and it's something I've never seen before. So it's really important to stay true, what I said in the interview a year and a half ago, to just keep true to yourself and not fall for those hypes. It's not bad to make sometimes things that really respond to hypes, or like colors or textures, whatever, when you're talking about illustration. But yeah, I think originality in the end will pay off.
Yeah, it's such a good piece of advice, just to stay true to what yourself, and maybe experiment with a hype like you said. But I think it's a constant theme in these conversations that I have with creatives, that with the development of social media and technology, you're always looking, like your competition is in your face on your news feed 24/7. And it's also your network. You don't want to say competition. It's also, your friends or whoever. But at the same time, you see other creatives seemingly having everything figured out.
Yeah, yeah,
And it looks that way. And we're sort of taught to portray ourselves that way. And, I have talked about before, like when you look at other creatives and it says sold, sold, sold on whatever they're doing, we're sold out of this, sold out of this. And it's like,
right.
how are you doing that? It's like, for real. Like, did you
Where do
only
you find
make,
those people?
yeah, like, did you only make 3 t-shirts? Is that why you're sold out? Or
Right.
like, that's what started Hola Guapa, is that like, I needed to know how creatives were doing it so successfully. And, another revenue stream that you've created for yourself is your Etsy shop. And, you've had over 100 sales there. And I look to accounts like this and I want to know what is your secret sauce to success? Can you talk to us a little bit about?
I was hoping you gave me the answer.
That's the truth. That's the truth, though. Like, in these conversations, what you often find is like, nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody is literally just trying their best to put one foot in front of the other and do the best that they can with what they have at any given moment. And I think, what you said is just hard work and consistency is something that has always come up. But what you had just mentioned, which is like really staying true to your vision or your style, or your what makes you original, is also a really good ingredient to add into that recipe.
Exactly. Yeah. And um yeah, I have nothing to say there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I wanna dive into a little bit more to your Etsy shop and hear more about that and what you post there, and sort of how that revenue stream works for you as well.
Um my Etsy shop is something I started 5 years ago while I was still studying, because I was curious on what this online shop would be, and I really didn't know what I was doing. So I've left it there for 3 years without having a serious shop. But then I looked into it again when I had some more time and like have had stuff to sell. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird mix of styles, because there's a lot of there's a bit of old work there which I made during Art Academy and still have laying around, where I'm like, okay, let's put it online and see if someone likes it. But then you also see my development, and I have new stuff in there which is way more of who I am today. And also my best sellers are some drawings I made during Draw Club, which I really liked, but are
Wow.
not
Yeah.
really 100% the thing I do every day. But altogether, it's a great mix of my works, and really the techniques I've been loving all those years, because most of the things I sell are reso prints, which I make with a risograph printer. And for me, it's a really nice way to experiment. And sometimes these experiments are nice, and then I can sell them on Etsy and show them to people and make their day better. Like, give them nice things to send to friends, or like hang on their walls. And the fun thing is that the last few months during the COVID lockdown, I've had more sales than ever because everyone was at home and wanting to decorate their their houses, and like all of a sudden I had all these like sales in 1 week, and it's a thing which really flows. Like some weeks I have no sales, and then all of a sudden 3 in 1 week, and it's also a nice revenue stream to have next to my others. And if I wouldn't have so many things at the same time with my business, then I would have more time to work on my Etsy and make it a bigger shop or like a bigger revenue stream. But I have so many things to do, so this Etsy thing is just a side hustle for me a bit.
What I love about it is that, for one, you get to experiment, like you said, and try out new mediums, or even just like with what you create at Draw Club, sort of having an intention behind your drawing is like, okay, every time I go to Draw Club, I'm gonna finish a piece and then put it on my Etsy shop. And I think, you get to experiment, you get to be free, but at the same time, you're building your shop, you're building your audience, and you're posting your work and you're sharing it. And that's something that's really important. And then let's say one of the revenue streams that you have, falls short, or there's no income there, or let's say, something like COVID happens and you lose a job, you're able to lean into that without starting at ground zero. So that's
Right.
why
Yeah.
it's so great to have all of these things going at once and be balancing all of these different things, because you never know when you'll lean into one more than the other.
Yeah. And sometimes when I'm busy with graphic design jobs, I don't have that much time for Etsy. But when those jobs stop, or like they're coming in, then my Etsy shop is something I can dive into and make new photos, or like update my text or my tags and all those things, which really take a long time. People, be
Yeah.
aware of the amount of effort you have to put in your Etsy shop before opening one, because it's every time they decide to change something, and then you have to like
Yep.
start all over again, almost. So yeah, and making things, I make every day, so why not like share it with the world and sell it on Etsy, and like see if I can make someone happy with it. And that's a fun
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you for chatting with me, Alice. It's been so great talking to you. I feel like you provide so much good value for, any creative in any industry, just from everything that you're doing right now. It's so inspiring. So I loved getting to chat with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been great. And yeah, my mother tongue is not English, as you can hear, so I'm sorry if
You
I
speak great
mix up
English.
words or like sound, I don't know. It's
You sound
it's really
perfect.
nice. It's
Yeah.
been fun to be on the other side of the podcast now, because I've been listening to so many, and like all these things I tell you I've been hearing in other podcasts as well. So there's a nice community of people inspiring each other, and I hope I can help someone too.
Absolutely. Pimp yourself out. Where can everybody find you?
Well, I have an Instagram at the beautiful name of Alice Mulder, which is ALICE_MULDER. It's a really Dutch name. And you can also find me at www.alicemulder.nl. And my Etsy shop
Perfect.
is Etsy Studio Alice Mulder. So just Google and you'll find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the other podcasts.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode with Alice. I hope you gained as much value and inspiration from her story as I did. If you love what you heard, please make sure to rate and review this episode on Apple Music and/or Spotify. With that, have a beautiful week, Guapas, and as always, I'm sending you tons of love and inspiration.